Hey YouTube, this is Nana516 with...
I'm sorry, I don't know who I am. Could you please tell me who I am?
Oh, well, okay then, fine. This is Here It's On, Almighty 2011.
Hey there, guys. Today we are here with you with Pokemon Platinum.
Oh yeah, it's a bitchin' ass game, so let's get it started.
This is actually one of my favorite games in the entire series. Like, even though, like, Black 2 and White 2 are, like, by far, I'll admit, are, like, my, like, they're the best so far. Like, this is, like, my absolute favorite.
Oh, they're great games, but Platinum's a classic. Like, you can't touch
Absolutely.
Platinum.
You've skipped the intro.
Who needs an intro? YouTubers are so impatient nowadays.
Yeah, I guess so. Hello there. It's so very nice to meet you.
I never thought Professor Rowan sounded so nice.
Welcome to the world of Pokemon.
Yes.
I don't remember how he sounds in the anime.
I think that's a much better voice.
Great.
No, we don't need info.
We don't need info on
News
how to play
need
this
info.
game.
We're bosses. We don't need it.
Here I have a Pokeball. Touch the middle of the button. You guys won't be able to see the touchscreen because how we're recording this right now is on a iPod, I believe this is?
Yes, iPod Touch, 4th generation. Sorry, folks.
So the quality is going to be a little bad since we're directly like placing it right in front of the 3DS, and I have it set up so like it doesn't move for the most part. So okay, here we're going to be picking our protagonists. Let me go over both of these first. There are two choices, just like in any other Pokemon game up since Pokemon Crystal. There's the male protagonist and the female protagonist. But considering it's not my game, we're going to be going with male, right?
Plus, we're both boys, so you know it just makes a lot more sense that way. But if you disagree and you want us to be a girl, too fucking bad. That's our LP.
You also can't see the bottom screen, but one thing that was introduced in Generation 4, because it was taking advantage of the DS, was the fact of using the touchscreen for most of the things, such as naming Pokemon, selecting options, and even the battles, which we'll get to in a bit.
Yes, those are lovely.
There's also mini-games that you can play with the touchscreen as well, which we'll see if we can show them later on.
And we're gonna name him Lucas because we're nerds who like canon. So, Lucas it is.
Technically his name's... Wait, is his name... No, that's Barry. His name's Diamond.
Yes, but we're not going by many names, my friend.
What is his name? He's gonna be named...
Barry. Of course. Barry.
Nolan.
Barry is such a classic name. You can't go wrong with Barry. So.
Let's name him Fuck I.
That would be awesomely terrible.
We need to name one of the Pokemon that. Just Fuck I.
Oh man, so welcome to the world of Pokemon. Alright, awesome. Now let's shrink it to midgets, because Japan is full of them. And let's get started.
Even though in anime you have people who are like 6.5 and all this. Oh, this is something that they changed in Pokemon Platinum. Pokemon Platinum, for those of you who don't know, is the third version going alongside Diamond and Pearl, which Nintendo had a habit of doing until Black and White, where they made upfront sequels, which is Black 2 and White 2.
Yeah, you see, the point, folks, of Black 2 and White 2 was to totally fuck with your minds. They didn't want to get too predictable, and since you smart-ass Americans always try to say what's coming out next, Nintendo made us all look bad. But it's okay.
One thing that they did change, however, at the beginning, I believe they were just talking about random news around Sinnoh. In the original, which is Diamond and Pearl, they spoke about a red Gyarados, which was cited, which they never specified. Technically, even though before this, they weren't planning on releasing Heart Gold and Soul Silver, this was actually referencing what was going on in Johto. For those of you who don't know, the remix of Fire Red and Green and Heart Gold and Soul Silver take place in the time that the generation that was currently out existed. Therefore, Fire Red and Green happens at the same time as Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum happen at the same time that the Johto games happen.
Which is why we have the Sinjo ruins, people. You know, in case you didn't put that together, even though they clearly mixed the names Sinnoh and Johto together. But anyway, we're gonna leave our house because we're too badass to stay with Mom this long.
And even though my mother looks nothing like us, and she was clearly made to look like Dawn's mother.
I don't know. I guess it's because all three of us have blue hair.
Another thing that was changed for Diamond and from Diamond and Pearl to Pokemon Platinum is visual aesthetic. Each area has its own little title card with its own little scenery, as well as the certain areas changing as well. As you notice, there's snow on the ground. The whole theme about this game is that most of the areas were changed to winter, or at least the end of winter, as opposed to the original where it was mostly summertime.
Which is why, of course, Lucas has different clothing. You'll notice a heavier jacket on him, and a much gayer scarf. And of course, Dawn has a cute little red coat.
That she wore in the anime as well when they went to Snowpoint City.
You know, I don't think I saw those episodes.
She wore her platinum outfit when she went to Snowpoint City.
But anyway, next time Barry comes around, I love Barry. I think he's awesome.
Barry is the game's rival. A common thing in the Pokemon games where they introduce a best friend character that wants to fight you because they want to prove that they're stronger. Unless you count
Too slow!
Unless you count Gold and Silver, where you had Silver who's just a dick.
Yeah, but Silver was badass. So he wants to go to the lab. What? Don't go into the grass, right? No worries, no problem. It doesn't matter we don't have any Pokemon. Trust me on this one. I've got an idea. That doesn't sound good to me.
Even though clearly, you don't see Pokemon in the grass. You just walk.
Yeah, that's the scary part, folks. I mean, these Pokemon are like stalkers. They're just waiting for some fresh anus to come running into the grass.
And they are animals.
Hold it! Oh shit, we're in so much trouble, dude. You two don't seem to have any Pokemon between you. Then what is the meaning of going into the tall grass?
Professor Rowan has a different voice every time we talk.
That's okay. Hey, Lucas, this old guy. This Professor Rowan, isn't it? What's he doing here? Yes, there's a whole bunch of animals you can touch any way you please.
What? You truly love Pokemon, don't you? In the games, I don't love them.
I think you love them.
Except for that one time with God of War.
I guess Barry loves them too.
Well, let's not get into the whole God of War thing for people who don't know.
Yeah, God of War has boobs. That's all we're gonna say. God of War has boobs.
In the game, she doesn't play like. No, let's not talk about this.
That's why I said we were gonna leave it at God of War has boobs.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You have to censor all these swears.
Nah, it's fine. We are rated T for teen LP group. Okay, dude.
Oh no. Come on.
You'd be surprised. They play some T for teen, dude.
You look at me like that.
They do in mine.
Great.
Yeah, nobody cares what Dawn says because she's a toolbox.
No?
She's a toolbox now. We're not playing as her, she's a toolbox. Oh, me too. She's better than Bianca.
Hey.
Alright, so basically, I know you're probably mad at us because we're skipping a lot of the dialogue, but you don't want to see anything from the beginning anyway. So.
The beginning is basic, just like all Pokemon games. You pick your starter, except something to be pointed out. This is also something different from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. In the original, like its predecessor in Generation 3, you would pick your starter because the professor was in danger. In this, you just casually get your starter first.
Exactly. And it's one of a kind because even in Diamond and Pearl, it was a very different situation. As a matter of fact, in Diamond and Pearl, you were the one who did. But once the basics here are complete, we will of course stop talking so much crap, and we will focus more on giving voices to these characters. So now we're gonna make an age-old choice here, and if you're an old fan, you've been making this choice many times over the last 14 years.
We should go over the individual stats of the Pokemon first, just so that people who are following along or just simply watching for entertainment should know which Pokemon that we're choosing.
Alright, but we'll try to keep it brief. So, we have the grass-type starter, Turtwig.
Turtwig is fun. I'm not good with stats, but he's one of my personal favorites, mostly because I prefer grass types and because he's green. But his final evolution, which is Torterra,
Total boss, folks. Total boss.
Torterra, something that was introduced, I believe, not really Generation 1, but it was there in Generation 1, but it was more prominent in Generation 3, was starters becoming dual types as they evolve. Torterra is the first one to break the norm, where instead of being just pure grass or grass poison, he becomes grass ground later on, which although that isn't an exactly good type, it is good for later on where he can learn specific moves.
And it works smashingly well in the Elite Four. Trust me, we've played this game thousands of times. We know. Next, we have the Fire-type starter, Chimchar.
Chimchar is the obligatory firefighting when it grows up, which, that became prominent.
Abuse theme, folks. Abuse theme. This is the second consecutive Fire-type starter to be fire and fighting. And the third would be Tepig later on in Generation 5. But we're not going to touch that yet because those beautiful games are waiting for us after Platinum.
Yeah. Also something to point out is that every single fire starter is based off the Chinese zodiac.
Indeed. And after Chimchar and Tepig and their evolutions are all based off of a Chinese book, whose name I've currently forgotten. So let's continue. Next is the Water-type starter, Piplup.
Piplup is unique in the sense that later on he becomes a water steel type, which makes him void to a lot of weaknesses such as grass. Unfortunately, like most water types though, he does still have certain weaknesses, and being a penguin, he cannot learn fly. He's probably one of the first bird-type Pokemons that had the inability of flight as well, unless you, of course, hack the game or something.
Now, of course, don't get it wrong, folks. Piplup evolves into a great Pokemon, and if you want any way to sweep most of the later half of the gyms and the Elite Four, Empoleon is definitely your Pokemon. But we don't want to make things too easy, so we're going to pick our favorite, Turtwig. Then I choose you. I'm picking this Chimchar, just so I can beat you later because I'm a stereotypical rival.
The rivals have a habit of basically always choosing the Pokemon that can trump yours in terms of types.
Yes, because they're a bunch of douchebags.
This was later changed in Generation 5, where you had two rivals who both picked Pokemon that were either better than yours and also that you had a strength against. Originally, this concept was going to be used in Generation 1, where Professor Oak was going to be the super boss of the game, and he had the Pokemon that neither of you chose.
Yes. But that, you can hear more about that and even get a detailed look at it by checking out the Digino Gaming videos on YouTube. Those are really cool. For now, yes, Super Raptor's awesome. Our first rival battle with Barry is starting. So, of course, he has his Chimchar at the base level 5. And we have Turtwig, and I don't know about you, but I'm not much of a defense man, so I'm just gonna go for the first attack.
When I started off in Pokemon, I wasn't really strategic until mainly Black and White. So, mostly when I played Pokemon, I always had one Pokemon be the guy who slept everything. I remember when I first started with Crystal, I caught Pokemon, but I only ever used Typhlosion. And after 2 years, he was level 93 because I only ever used him.
I remember back in 2010, it took me 2 days to beat Gold, which was a surprising record for me. But my Typhlosion, such a beautiful creature. It basically killed everything in sight. I even took it to Misty's gym and beat her entire team with just Typhlosion.
The funny thing is, when this game was first introduced, well, even before it, there were rumors going on the internet that a third game was going to be based on the legendary mascot of this game, which we will get into when that bridge crosses. However, most of these screenshots were fake, of course, although some people did speculate that something like that would happen. Eventually, when the screenshots were revealed, this was also the first time that the main mascot had a different form, something that they introduced in this game as well.
And we did win our first rival because Barry's pathetic and he only used Leo the whole time. And we just got 69 EXP points.
He used Leer the whole time? He didn't even attack?
That was fantastic. And we made it to level 6. So, let's go home.
I'm beat.
After that battle, my Pokemon needs rest too.
See you, Lucas.
Oh yeah.
And the next day.
Hurry the fuck up, Mama. I want my sandwich.
If I believe correctly, in Diamond and Pearl, the game would just start off after that, but this is the first time they actually introduced, just the next day, I think.
Yeah. Now she's starting all this crap about how she's jealous that we're young and she's gonna die soon. We don't really care though. So, bye, Mom. I said bye, Mom. Bitch. Okay. Yeah, cool. Running shoes, yeah.
The running shoes are something that was introduced in Generation 3. By holding down B, the character can run faster, which is much of an improvement instead of walking everywhere like we could in Generation 2.
Yes, and, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
This is the first game where you could run indoors.
There's also something to be pointed out later. Running shoes is also introduced at a level of stealth. Later on, when you meet trainers, you can have the ability to sneak past them. However, there is one addendum. If you're able to if you run past them, sometimes the trainers will actually be able to hear you, and they'll be able to spot you. This is something that they added in to give a level of stealth to the game as well. Another thing that they did is in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you had the ability to keep the running shoes on, which is something they took out in Generation 5, which I don't get.
Oh, Cyrus! The flowing time, the expanding space. I will make it all mine one day.
I think we should actually give him a voice.
Doesn't matter.
Fine.
Doesn't matter.
Cyrus is my name. Remember
Oh,
it.
no.
Until then, sleep while you can, legendary Pokemon. I'm an angry
We
villain.
voiced that shit in some of the anime. We should try that.
No, Shang Tsung's voice is like too deep for me.
I'd try. Oh, it's gone now.
Okay, so it doesn't look weird that two boys are out at the lake together, alone. Not weird at all. But let me tell you something, folks. The blonde one is gay. Anyway. Okay, let's catch it. But meanwhile, we don't even have any Pokeballs. You're not a very smart man, Barry. Yeah. I don't really care. See, all this beginning dialogue, folks, we really don't need to go over it. But anyway, we are reaching our time limit. So, this is now not 516.
And this is Hero Time Almighty 2011, and we will see you in the next part.
Yeah.